This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number on the board says number 11. It's a solid lump of metal, but the shackle is deeply corroded. A solid pair of chain cutters would make short work of it. Better whip out those cutters. You won't get very far otherwise. No reply.
Ne, sag hör mal auf jetzt.
This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number. What are you doing?
Oh, sag mal warum.
You're trying to cut the body of the lock with the chain cutters, and it's really not working. Despair creeps into you, getting fat on your weakness. You're still coming up with sentences. That's a step up from total annihilation, right?
Yes, it can be difficult to be on the receiving end.
Nothing you can say. Cop gives up the detective genre for social realism. Another police officer resigned from the RCM following an...
Ernsthaft? Oh Gott, ehrlich. Ich muss das immer sofort machen. Okay. Der Fluch.
Son, you've really let yourself go.
Ja.
It's a disgrace. It's going to take blood. Behold, world. Here walks...
Ich hätte nicht gedacht, dass das so... Also ich bin gestorben im Prinzip, also... Bin ich hier richtig? Ich weiß es nicht. Ja. Kann doch sein. Ah, jetzt habe ich die Chance, das hier wieder zu machen, oder?
This is a wall on the side of an apartment building. You have no clue. It's just a wall. So many walls all over Martinez. Weather-worn, cracked, their paint peeling.
Oh.
Hey, up here, Piggo.
Was ist das?
Yeah, you better keep walking.
So, musst du eigentlich immer im Weg stehen?
A sturdy metal door guards the southwest entrance to the apartment building. It's locked. The door rattles against your knuckles, but there's no response. The door rattles again, but this time you hear.
Stop banging on the door. I'm not letting any more strangers inside.
Police.
Ha! The police? Everyone knows the police don't come round here. No, I already told you. I won't be responsible for any more strangers getting into the building.
Okay.
Go check the backyard door. Maybe someone there will.
Backyard door. There must.
Madame, I assure you, we are real police officers.
There is no reply.
Look at me when I'm talking to you.
Tja, ganz neue Sachen gefunden. Nein, nicht. Oh Mann. Dann steht er doch wieder im Weg.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat,
Yep.
smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce.
Hi.
Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
L?
Beaton, my maiden name. I meant you, the Revachol Citizens Militia, the police. I'm glad to see you here.
Like steel. There is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
Hör mal auf.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, Madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode.
Er ist so
Very
lieb.
unusual.
Ganz ehrlich, ich mag den.
But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group. Why, yes I am. Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? I mean, we are on Le Caillou, are we not?
Technically, the neighboring Ozone and Fas a la Mer island groups are archipelagos, while La Caillou, by contrast, is a single fertile landmass, the fourth largest island in the world. It is not an archipelago.
Okay, if you want to get technical. The point is, we're all on islands here, and sail is still the most expedient way to get from one island to another, especially when you're in a hurry to resolve a strike. I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich. Before you do, it would be pertinent to ask other questions. Gather more info on this boat of hers.
Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class?
Detective, may I remind you that Mrs. Messier is a professional negotiator.
Then what does that say? Does it say docking reserved for residents of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A? 33A? This old proletarian haunt here? As I said, plenty of people drive boats, of all social strata.
Bitte.
Your synapses flash. Yep, that's the stuff.
I assure you, they drove quite the hard bargain for this space. But you're right.
Warte mal. Ich habe zwei. Warte mal. Warte mal. Wie geht das? Hä? Ah, nee, hier. Willenskraft. War das gut? Keine Ahnung. Egal. Ja.
I am a bourgeois woman, and this is my long, incredibly lightweight, interminably bourgeois boat. The boat? No. It is called Cor de Lady 19 because that's the type of sloop it is. It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business.
Okay, wie gefällt es Ihnen?
My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
Warte mal.
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The
Good.
crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she her nonchalance might
Das reicht
be
jetzt, ja.
related to
Good. What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
Das könnte echt wichtig
There
sein.
was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing.
Genau, haben
And
wir
that is
verstanden.
the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain. Saint-Baptiste, Elysium, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
Why, thank you. I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue. And to think, there are years when the group books losses in the billions. Walpines employs 72,000 people, all of whom have families that depend on their salaries.
Wow.
It is a tremendous responsibility. They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain.
Okay.
Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the Great Unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it. You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, Walpines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did
Was haben die
that.
denn mit diesem
You mean
System?
aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo? There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire system break. Every hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their jobs, the world over. I'm here to assure that doesn't happen.
Können Sie was über den Lynchmord erzählen? Das interessiert mich jetzt.
Quite a few things, I'm afraid.
Oh oh.
The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Ja.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, Detective?
Twas stolen by some artist, surely. Best to pin the blame on them. Everyone knows you can't trust artists.
Genau.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia.
Ja.
I don't even know how to respond.
Tja.
I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
Genau.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the
Oh, ist der so
RCM.
lieb.
Of course, I sympathize. But I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
Oh nee.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. Feelings will guide the way.
I assure you, it is no small matter for me either. We all share the responsibility for disarming this situation. I hope you have a badge for me as soon as possible. Trust me, officer, I am fully committed to resolving this impasse.
She's silent. The wind flaps the sail above her.
Officer, you know, I don't mean to sound cold, but if you want something, you have to give something back.
You're doing it. Despite your own best efforts, you're still getting it.
I'll be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something tangible. The Union is conducting drug trade out of the harbour. It's an open secret in Martinez. Surely it must not come as a complete surprise to the RCM either. Perhaps it's time to look into it.
Machen wir.
Or you can find your badge, which honestly seems like a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue. this is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective. Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteer us to be her henchman. This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser.
Okay.
Maybe this is all her plan. She might have heard about you.
Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters.
The situation might have changed drastically by the time you locate it.
You could request a new one from your station, but that would literally take months. I wouldn't go that far. Her reaction did come off as sincere to me. I think she's just quick to adapt. She's a professional, after all. No, if there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we're siding with the Union. Or what I propose is...
Komm, ja. So, aber wir sind für heute fertig. Das waren 11 Folgen. Können wir speichern? Ja, speichern. Und ich würde sagen, danke fürs Zuschauen. Es geht demnächst weiter. Ich weiß nicht, ob wir auf einem guten Weg sind. Aber wir sind ja schon einmal sozusagen gestorben. Also, naja. Danke fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal. Macht's auf jeden Fall gut.